Good morning, students. Here, Neelaman from SKM Public School. Students, today I am going to teach you here history chapter number 5, that is rulers and buildings. In my earlier videos, I have taught you about the construction of structures, engineering skills, and I have taught you about buildings, building temples, mosques, and tanks. I have taught you that between 8th and 18th centuries, kings built two kinds of structures. The first were forts, palaces, gardens, residences, and tombs. The second were temples, mosques, tanks, wells, and bazaars. Then you have learnt about engineering skills. Rooms, doors, and windows were added to buildings. A new style of architecture called the Trabeate or corbelled evolved. The weight of the superstructure above the doors and windows was carried by arches, and this form was called arcuate. And limestone cement was used in the construction. Then you have learnt about buildings, building temples, mosques, and tanks. Temples and mosques were beautifully constructed as they were places of worship. They were also meant to demonstrate the power, wealth, and devotion of the patron. Muslim sultans and padshahs did not claim to be incarnation of God. The Persian court chronicles described the sultan as the shadow of God. Then you have learned about destruction of temples. Temples were destroyed because they were often targeted by some rulers so as to break the emotional and financial power of the other rulers. In 11th century, Rajendra first built a Shiva temple which he filled with prize statues seized from defeated rulers. Mahmud of Ghazni attacked the temples of Rajendra first and looted their wealth. The Pandyan king Sri Maharaj Sri Vallabha invaded Sri Lanka and defeated Sena first. He seized the statue of Buddha made entirely of gold in the jewel palace. Then you have learned about gardens, tombs, and forts. The most beautiful Char Baghs were constructed by Jahangir and Shah Jahan. During Akbar's reign, the center dome and the top gateway were important aspects of Mughal architecture. During Shah Jahan's reign, Diwan-e Khas or were carefully planned. These courts were the ceremonial halls of public and private audience. Shah Jahan's audience halls were specially constructed to resemble a mosque. Shah Jahan adapted the riverfront garden in layout of the Taj Mahal. And today you are going to learn about region and empire. As construction activity increased between the 8th and 18th centuries, there was also a considerable sharing of ideas across regions. This is part 4 of chapter number 5, history. The traditions of one region were adopted by another. In here, Vijayanagara, for example, the elephant stables of the rulers were, this is Vijayanagara. For example, the elephant stables of the rulers were strongly influenced by the style of architecture here found in the adjoining sultanates of Bijapur and Golconda. You will see in chapter number 6. In Vrindavan near Mathura, temples were constructed in architectural styles that were very similar to the Mughal palaces in Fatehpur Sikri. So you can look at this picture. This is here interior of temple of Govind Deva in Vrindavan. 1590. The temple was here constructed out of red sandstone. Notice that 2 out of 4 intersecting arches. These are arches, intersecting arches. Here, intersecting arches that made of high ceiling roof. Here, ceiling roof. This style of architecture is from, this architecture style is taken from northeast Iran, that is Khurasan, and was used in Fatehpur Sikri also. So in Vrindavan near Mathura, temples were constructed in architectural styles that were very similar to the Mughal palaces in Fatehpur Sikri. The creation of large empires that brought different regions under their rule helped in this cross fertilization of artistic forms and architectural styles. Mughal rulers were particularly skilled in adapting regional architectural styles in the construction of their own buildings. In Bengal, for example, the local rulers had developed a roof that was designed to resemble a thatched hut. The Mughals liked this Bangla Dome in figure number 11 and here 12. In chapter number 9, you will look at chapter number 9, figure number 11 and 12. So much that they used it in their architecture. The impact of other regions was also evident. In Akbar's capital at Fatehpur Sikri, many of the buildings show the influence of the architectural styles of Gujarat and Malwa. Even though the authority of the Mughal rulers waned in the 18th century, the architectural styles developed under their patronage were constantly used and adapted by other rulers whenever they tried to establish their own kingdoms. So figure number 17 here, this one, decorated pillars and struts holding the extension of the roof in Jodhbhai Palace in Fatehpur Sikri. Jodhbhai Palace in Fatehpur Sikri. These follow architectural traditions of the Gujarat region. You can see decorated pillar here, decorated pillar and struts holding the extension of the roof. Then churches that touch the skies. Students, you will look at the figure 11 and 12, which is in chapter number 9. Churches that touch the skies. From the 12th century onwards, attempts began in France to build churches that were taller and lighter than earlier buildings. This architectural style, known as Gothic, was distinguished by high pointed arches. The use of stained glass, often painted with scenes drawn from the Bible, and flying here buttresses, tall spires and bell towers, which were visible from a distance, were added to the church. One of the best known examples of this architectural style is the church of here Notre Dame in Paris, which was constructed through several decades in the 12th and 13th centuries. Okay. So look at the illustration and try and identify the bell towers. So what do you here notice? Look at the illustration and try and identify the bell towers. The bell towers are those constructed up to 3rd floor and stand tallest in the building. Here, situational test. Here, imagine you are an artisan standing on a tiny wooden platform held together by bamboo and rope 50 meters above the ground. You have to place an inscription under the first balcony of the Qutub Minar. How would you do this? Yes? Imagination based. If you will write in that, I would stand up on the tiny wooden platform held together by bamboo and rope hanging 50 meters above the ground, and then I would do the work of inscribing by the tools such as hammer and chisel. Hammer and chisel. Okay. So students, you will also find the answers in your book of these questions. Let's recall. How is the Trabeate principle of architecture different from the arcuate? So I have taught in 4 or 5 videos about this chapter. So you will find the here difference of Trabeate and arcuate. Okay, in Trabeate, roofs, doors and windows were made by placing horizontal beam across 2 vertical columns. And in arcuate, the weight of the superstructure was carried by arch. It is also here arc. It is also called corbel technique. In case of Trabeate, it is also called corbel technique. But in case of arcuate, a keystone was placed at the center. It transferred the weight of the superstructure to the base of the arc. For Trabeate, example of the Quwwat al-Islam Mosque at Delhi, example of Trabeate. And in case of arcuate, the keystone was called true arc. In case of Trabeate, the arc was pointed from the middle. In case of here arcuate, example of Alai Darwaza at Delhi, it is example of arcuate architectural here style. And in case of same here arcuate, the arc was rounded from the middle. And what is a shikhra? Shikhra is a superstructure above the main shrine, that is Garbhagriha, in which main deity is placed in the temples. The construction of shikhra was the most tedious and long-lasting task in the temple construction. What is then Pitra Dura? Pitra Dura was an architectural technique mostly used in the buildings of Shah Jahan. In this technique, colored hard stones were placed in depressions carved into marbles or sandstones, creating beautiful ornate patterns. Then what are the elements of a Mughal Chahar Bagh garden? The elements of a Mughal Chahar Bagh garden are: the garden was placed within rectangular walled enclosures and divided into 4 quarters by artificial channels. I am speaking this answer. The garden was placed within rectangular walled enclosures and divided into 4 quarters by artificial channels. The 4 divisions were symmetrical. All the 4 divisions were symmetrical. Okay, students, you will also find some of the question here answers of this. Let's understand. Please mark in the book itself. Okay, no need to write in the notebook. Only mark in the book. Okay. Okay, students, stay alert, stay healthy, mask yourself, take proper care. Thank you. God bless all of us. Thank you.